The Grassman is a tall bipedal hominid that stalks the woods of Ohio. It's reportedly very similar to Bigfoot. It seems to be much more aggressive than any other Sasquatch species. The first prominent sighting of the Grassman occurred in a small village near Ohio. In August of 1978, two children along with their friends ran inside screaming about a hairy monster they saw in the gravel pit outside. When the grandparents went out to investigate, they saw what the crying children had described. It was covered in dark matted hair, sitting in the pit and playing with discarded rubbish. It was estimated to be around 300 pounds. In the late 1800s, sightings of a similar hairy beast were made near a river. The hominid had apparently tried to throw a man out of his carriage, but retreated when his daughter, riding as a passenger, threw several stones at it. It's unknown whether these are all Grassman sightings, or possibly sightings of a similar kind of Bigfoot. The Yukon beaver eater is a relatively unknown cryptid. It's described as bigger than the biggest grizzly bear, and got its name from its diet. It's caught beavers by flipping up their lodges and seizing the exposed beavers. When shown a book of prehistoric animals, natives chose a giant ground sloth as the closest lookalike to the beaver eater. Dawn Charlie, a Canadian First Nation member, contacted the British Columbia Scientific Cryptozoology Club and said the following. The latest report was from Violet Johnny, my husband's sister, who was fishing with her husband and mother at the head of Tutchin Lake 4 or 5 years ago. An animal came out of the woods 8 or 9 feet high, bigger than a grizzly bear. It started coming towards them. They panicked, fired a few shots over its head and finally managed to get the motor going and took off. There are other reports. There's also reports that a man shot one in a small lake in that area. Beaver eaters are said to live in the mountain areas east of Frenchman Lake. In the last 30 years or so, the triangle-shaped UFO has become topic of much discussion. Often reported as flying low and running silent with several lights on the bottom, these strange objects have become an enigma in the UFO circles. Sightings of these objects often come in waves, and they are reported as being able to go from a crawl to a high-speed departure in a matter of seconds. Many feel that the triangle UFO may be a top-secret government craft, still in the experimental stage, and more than likely designed with military implications. Some researchers feel they're the next steps in the stealth series of craft, capable of flying low and making their exit without being detected by enemy radar. This type of craft would be indispensable for enemy surveillance, especially with weapon capabilities. This photo was sent to me by one of my subscribers. She attached this photo and said the following. I had a small telescope and was trying to get some good views of the moon. I also had a night vision camera with a 3x magnifier on a tripod, with a video camera attached to it and a set of night vision goggles. I usually have the goggles with me if it's a clear night out. There were no clouds that night. I was looking through the goggles and noticed a plane coming towards me from the north. It was relatively low, 5,000 feet or a little less, but when it got closer the craft was in the shape of a triangle. There were 3 lights on the object. I have seen planes and helicopters through night vision goggles, and you can hear planes at 5,000, 15,000 and 20,000 feet. This thing was low and silent. The last weird thing that I noticed was when I took the goggles down for a second to get a bearing as to where it was in the sky, I couldn't see any of the lights. The craft was invisible to the naked eye. So what do you think it was that she was seeing? Let me know in the comments. Shropshire is one county in England which has become very well known for the ghosts that haunt the many older buildings in the area. It's been estimated there could be more than 500 different haunted places in Shropshire, including everything from museums to pubs to prisons. Prisons have always seemed to be a paranormal hotspot. Perhaps it's the result of pain and suffering that has been seen within those walls. It's only been recently that investigators have had the chance to study the paranormal activity at HM Shrewsbury Prison, so there is no real information regarding who might be responsible for the strange occurrences. There are all sorts of strange reports coming from the prison, including unexplained bangs, cell doors crashing shut and disembodied wailing. The Pisano vase, believed to have been made in Italy around the 15th century, this vase vanished for a long time before being discovered again in 1988, along with a note saying "Beware, this case brings death." The vase was auctioned off, and the new owner died of it only a few short months after taking it home. The vase was sold again and the same fate was met by its new owner. This happened a few more times before Italian police decided to put an end to the mysterious deaths by burning the vase in a secret location. In Stevens Point, Wisconsin, there's a stretch of road that runs through the woods. It's unpaved with little around to recommend itself, but many will still often wander down it curious to see whether the stories connected to it are true. It's called Boy Scout Lane, and it's on this small stretch of road that a group of Boy Scouts some 20 years ago are believed to have lost their lives. As is frequently the case with this sort of folklore, there exists a number of variations on the main theme. In most variations of the story, the Scouts meet an unfortunate end. Some stories say that the boys vanish one by one, never to be seen again, and yet in other versions of the tale they are victims of their own folly. The Scouts wandering away from their campsite drop their lantern, starting a forest fire that results in the incineration of the entire group. It's believed their spirits haunt this road, and many witnesses have come forward claiming to have seen them. The Brosno dragon is believed to be a Russian lake monster. Many people treat the existence of it with a lot of skepticism, and still say that the creature may be a mutant beaver or a giant pike. Others say that it could be groups of wild boars and elks as they cross the lake from time to time. There are some more scientific hypotheses concerning the creature. One of them is a gas version saying that when hydrogen sulfide goes up from the lake bottom, it makes water boil up. This boiling in turn resembles a dragon's head, but the amount of hydrogen sulfide must be considerable to produce this effect. Other versions say there's a volcano in Lake Brosno that make ejections on the water's surface from time to time. It's well known there are several fractures at the bottom of the lake. The depth and the direction of the fractures cannot be defined. It's not ruled out that the volcano crater is inside one of the fractures. This explains why the volcano, if it actually exists, has not been discovered yet. Fishermen say that the underwater world of Lake Brosno has a structure of several levels. From time to time, burbots and yellow perch can be found in the lake. For example, herring can be found in a lake in the Pino district. Some consider it strange that sea fish may live in the lake at all. Smelt shoals can be found in Lake Brosno as well. The phenomenon of the sea monster can be explained from the physical point of view. Huge smelt shoals are reflected on the water's surface through refraction of light, and produce the effect of a huge reptile head. Witnesses say they came across the monster in the summer. However, the origin of the rumours of this strange monster remain a mystery. A globster washed ashore on Brosno, and it could be the carcass of a Brosno dragon. It would seem that one of the most haunted houses in the US is also one of the most famous. Many spirits have been reported roaming the halls of the White House. There's a famous story about how the British Prime Minister Winston Churchill met Lincoln's ghost. During one of his stays at the residence in the 1940s, Churchill just finished having a bath and walking into the main bedroom he saw the president standing near the fireplace. Churchill said the following: "Good evening, Mr. President, you seem to have me at a disadvantage." Though he handled it well, the Prime Minister requested different rooms on subsequent visits. Mary Todd Lincoln, grieving over her son's death in February, began to participate in spirit circles in the Red Room at the White House and the presidential cottage at the Soldiers' Home. Spiritualism was widely popular during the height of the Civil War, as families sought comfort for the loss of loved ones. By far the most frequently reported sighting in the White House over the years has been Abraham Lincoln. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.